Hi, my name is Ashley Garcia, and today I'll be presenting the topic of the 1970s versus modern fashion. So, before we actually see what the style was, we should go over some cultural slash social context. So, during this time period, there were lots of societal movements going on. For example, there was a lot of anti war movements against the US government, such as the people wanting the US to end the Vietnam War. There was also a rise in environmentalism, gay liberation movements, liberation of the woman, as well as sexual revolutions. There was a lot of Supreme Court cases going on, like Roe v. Wade, and court cases that ultimately led to new innovations and new ideas that ultimately benefited the society at the time. In regards to music, new sounds of disco and psychedelic genres emerged. So psychedelic rock like Pink Floyd, there was also Stevie Wonder, disco of Donna Summers, as well as Fleetwood Mac. So some things that could also bring back those styles that I see currently is that mistrust in government. There's a lot of rise and awareness, especially in social media, that maybe you should not completely trust the government, maybe that you should not have other people making certain decisions for you. But also in terms of news of war and overturning of Supreme Court cases favoring women that were made in the 1970s, but also the ultimate desire of peace and freedom. In terms of music, music from the period is being revived and made popular again. Again, I think that social media is bringing back a lot of these 1970 elements. For example, in TikTok, you see a lot of Pink Floyd, you see a lot of Fleetwood Mac, you see a lot of those psychedelic elements in new generation artists such as Tame Impala. Like, you could tell the influences were from the 70s psychedelic rock era, and it's just kind of cool to see how those influences take shape but in a new form. Okay, so the flared silhouette in the 70s. I think when people think of the 70s, they ultimately imagine a big flared bottom, which is rightfully so, as bell bottoms were popular whether it was in jeans, one-piece jumpers, or dress pants. The bell bottoms were tied from the waist to the knee and then flared out dramatically. High-rise pants were also popular with the style, and when dancing, the flares moved freely and caught attention. So again, these were dramatic styles and overall a call to self-expression. The flared silhouette now. So we can see a very contrasting difference of what it was back then versus now. There is a comeback in the flared silhouettes, whether it be in jeans, leggings, or sweats, but it is ultimately less dramatic. There's a slow transition of the flare in the garments, and it's not as bold as the old flares. You could see there's a slight flare, it's not totally dramatic, and high-waisted pieces are no longer favored. Lately there's been a rise in popularity of low-rise jeans, so I think that is also something new that is being added with the flares. Colors and textiles in the 70s. So in the 70s, polyester was a very popular fabric. It allowed for major production of the clothing items with low costs. It was low maintenance and there was no need to iron the garment. For jeans, it was usually stiff, structured denim, and disco jumpsuits were made with sequins, satin, or spandex. All the clothes had bold patterns, colors, and elements of sparkle, really anything to catch your attention and show individuality. But the colors and textiles now, polyester is a big one. I think it is very much associated with bad quality and fast fashion. There's a rise in desire for more organic, natural, and breathable quality fabrics such as cotton, linen, cashmere, and silk. Bold, bright colors are not widely used. Yes, there are some people that still choose to show their individualism in that way by using colors, but overall, if you go out, you don't really see people wearing much color anymore, as neutral colors are favored. So styling in the 70s, headbands and scarves were really popular. They were worn around the forehead, the hair, or even the neck. Jewelry was a major part. There was hoop earrings, chunky bracelets, and long layered necklaces. There was also platform shoes that you could wear. You could even see the platform with the flares, belts with large buckles, and even in different colors. There was lots of bold hair. It was either by being long and straight. I don't know if you guys know Cher, but she was the icon of long, straight hair. It was either also short, but with lots of volume. And then shag cuts with the blowouts were also favored. And there was really a light use of undergarments. Like I said in the contextual part of the presentation, there was really that liberation of the women, and they weren't really restricted. Some women chose not to wear bras at all, which is pretty cool. The gender in fashion then. So majority of the fashion trends were aimed at both men and women. For example, the flares, the platforms, jewelry, belts. And the hair was mostly kept long or to a mid-length. So in the pictures you can clearly see in that bottom right one, there's a girl and a boy essentially wearing the same outfit, and it really worked for both genders. There wasn't really any distinction in who should wear what element was considered masculine versus which one was feminine. It was really mostly unisex. And for example, you could see in the bottom left images that men are wearing deep V neck cuts. They had exposed chests, and overall it was a period of freedom, and people were not afraid to show color, to show boldness, to show clear distinction into who they were and what they wanted to wear. However, gender in fashion now, there is a heavy distinction into what is considered masculine versus feminine styles. And a sad part about it is that masculine people don't really wear flares anymore. It's usually a mix between straight or baggy jeans. Hair is mostly kept at a short to mid-length. Again, there's a lot of instances where neutral color is the norm, and men don't really wear jewelry anymore. If anything, maybe watches or simple rings, simple necklaces or chains, but it is not the norm anymore. However, um, me being young and on TikTok, I have seen a shift into more feminine details. For example, there's been men wearing tote bags, there's been men leaving their hair long and into more of a shaggy cut, and I think that is pretty cool. And maybe there will be a shift into more feminine clothing for men as well. That would be nice to see, as well as the addition of color into wardrobes. Personally, I feel like color is a big part of the boldness in the 70s, and I could see it coming back. For example, I saw recently two popular teenager brands, Brandy Melville and Garage. They have been releasing like bright blue colors, bright teal, bright purple, bright pink, and I really think there is a beginning shift in there. So yeah, this is my presentation. I hope you like it, and thank you.